Hello, everyone. How are you? Happy Wednesday. I hope your week has been going very, very well, and I am so glad you could join me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is April, and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I share a style snack with you. And right now, we are in the middle of a series about um, how to get through the winter blahs with your wardrobe. And before we get into that, I want to remind you that while winter and too many dark days can give many of us the blahs, seasonal affective disorder is a real condition that causes depression during the darkest days of the year. And that is serious. That's more than just I'm a little blue because I'm sick of winter. Um, and you can get help. There are a lot of ways to treat seasonal affective disorder. I am not in any way qualified to help anyone with that. I can't diagnose it, treat it, or help it. Just these are just anecdotes. There's light therapy, exercise, but sometimes therapy and medication are also necessary. I got help quickly and easily for depression and anxiety through a telehealth company, and I'm going to share the link here. I was able to get an appointment very quickly with a healthcare provider who specializes in prescribing medications for depression and anxiety. They also have therapists you can meet with, and you meet with them from your home on your phone or your computer. It's telehealth, so it's a video. You don't have to suffer this way. You can get help. It's very easily accessible. This particular company is, I believe, only available in the United States, but hopefully there is a company like this wherever you live. And this isn't the only one. This is just the first one we found, the one that I used. My husband found it for me because when you're suffering with depression or anxiety, it's so hard to get help. That's the worst part. Once you recognize it, it feels like an impossible mountain to climb to find someone to help you. And this is so accessible. I share it. Some of you might get sick of hearing me share it, but I'm not going to stop. This is very dear to my heart, and people need help, especially this time of year. And so I'm going to keep sharing as often. I feel called to share this. And so I'm going to continue to share as often as I feel prompted to. We're going to put a graphic up here just right now with the suicide prevention hotline and text line. If you have feelings of harming yourself, of dark despair, if you are in that really, really dark place and it's an emergency, please reach out to someone immediately, whoever is in the closest physical proximity to you. Just tell them I'm not okay. I need help. I need someone to help me. That can be a really hard thing to say, but it's important. If you cannot get to someone close to you, someone from my team, can you put the graphic up on the screen with the suicide prevention hotline number? I kind of sprung this on them. You can call this phone number or text this other number, and someone there will help you and get you help. Please reach out. You don't have to suffer this way. You don't have to suffer this way. You are wanted. It's too soon for you to go. Oh, I did not expect this. I know how that feels. And if you can hear me, you're wanted. Please reach out for help. Okay, looks like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. We will get that number up as soon as possible. I'll interrupt the style snack to get that up as soon as we have it. My team, I throw things in like this without telling them because it just pops into my mind, and then I throw them for a loop when I ask them to throw up a graphic or image that they didn't know I was going to ask for. So did not mean to get emotional like that. So I'll pop that up as soon as we have it, or let me see, maybe they dropped it into the folder for me. Okay, they're working on it. So I will keep going. Okay. There is another Arctic storm moving across. Oh, they're going to put the phone number in the comments until we get the graphic. The suicide prevention hotline is 1-800. Oh, and Milana put it in here. Thank you so much, Milana. I really appreciate that. Is 800-273-8225, and we'll get the text number for you as well. And then we'll also put up the graphic at the end, and you can take a screenshot of it and keep it on your phone. There is another Arctic storm moving across the country this week, and that means winter is still going strong. If there's no end in sight where you live, but you're ready for the spring feels, I have another tip to help you lift your spirits and banish the winter blahs with your wardrobe. And combining any of these tips can help you feel like spring is coming right after this blizzard ends. Sorry, I need to get a little hold of myself. I was not expecting that. I've shared 2 tips with you already about changing the colors and the patterns in your wardrobe, and we'll leave links to those in the blog post when they go live, when this goes live later today, so you can check out those tips as well. So my third tip for this week is to change the texture of your clothes. Even if you can't put away the cable knit, cashmere, and flannels, you can add lighter textures even in small doses. So think about things like switching from flannel button-ups to cotton if you can. I'm going to tell you a secret. Much of what we call flannel is actually more like brushed cotton or even polyester, and it's not any warmer than most other cotton shirts. True flannel is made from wool. It's much warmer. They don't sell it at J. Crew. You would get it. It's like actual outdoor gear. You find that at places like LL Bean, and you know it when you feel it, and you know it when you see it. It's very warm. That is not the kind of flannel I'm talking about. Most of us do not wear that in our daily wear. The kind of flannel you probably have in your wardrobe is actually cotton, and cotton is honestly not very warm. So if you're wearing any kind of faux flannel, you will not get hypothermia from switching to just another cotton shirt. It can be, you can switch to a cotton button-up. You can switch to a cotton t-shirt. T-shirts come in varying thicknesses. And flannel has a very definite winter look, feel, and texture to it, where other cotton tops are smoother, and they can have more of a sheen to them, not necessarily shiny, but they're also smooth, and they don't have that slightly fuzzy texture that these faux flannels have. Flannel, I'm just going to say flannel. We know I'm talking about faux flannel. It absorbs the light, and other cotton tops don't as much. just that slight change of texture really does say something about the weather you're experiencing. We switch to that flannel look as soon as the weather gets cold, or we wish it were cold in the fall, to get that cozy look and feeling. And now we're not really wanting to feel that anymore. And all it is a texture change. So flannel came about as a way to keep men warm, well, people warm. But if you think about in the typical button-up shirt, those were usually for men. And switching to from one cotton flannel to another cotton shirt is really not going to change really probably anything about how warm you are. So if the weather is actually cold, I wouldn't even be wearing my faux flannel by itself. I'd be layering it with something else. And I would layer these button-ups just the same way, adding it under a sweater of some sort, whether it's a pullover sweater like this or a cardigan. I would be layering it no matter which version it is. So just switching to that other variety doesn't change anything about how warm I am. Another example would be, instead of wearing big chunky sweaters that are textured, choose a sweater that has a smoother, finer texture like the one I'm wearing. To make sure you're still weather appropriate, what your sweater is made of matters. It's everything. Choose something made with cashmere and or wool or some kind of mixture, because those particular natural fibers hold in heat when necessary, release heat when not. They're moisture wicking and moisture releasing. They can have very fine weaves and still be extremely effective at keeping you toasty. Cotton is terrible at holding heat or releasing moisture. It's terrible. So cotton sweaters will not be great at keeping you warm. So this sweater is wool, but as you can see, it's a very fine weave. It's still quite warm. There are thicker wool sweaters that are warmer. I'm not saying that this fine weave is just as warm as a really thick wool sweater, but you can still get a lot of warmth from a very fine knit sweater made out of wool, silk, or cashmere, way warmer than even a thick cotton sweater. So it's not necessary to have big, bulky sweaters to stay warm. And again, you can layer with they make very thin thermal tops and silk undershirts that add a layer of warmth without the bulk. And I know some of you are very sensitive to even the finest wools and cashmeres. And so those silk underlayers can be a protective barrier between your skin and the sweater. So let's take a look at a few examples. Sorry, the technical challenges continue. All right. This is admittedly a cotton sweater. I used to live in a very cold winter climate, and where we live now, just the weather is nowhere near as severe in the winter. But it is a thinner, less bulky sweater. I actually still have some texture in the form of ribbing, but ribbing doesn't say winter the same way cable knit does. And just that finer weave makes this outfit less wintry. This is the same sweater I'm wearing right now, and it's wool, it's thinner, it's finer, and it is still quite warm. I had sweaters like this when we lived in our previous location. And it just doesn't look quite as heavy duty. In this one, that is actually that's a sweater also. It's a very fine, this one is a silk and cashmere combination. And that silk and cashmere combination is so smooth. It does not have any of that cashmere feeling that could make you feel itchy. And it's so fine that I can layer it under this cardigan. And in this outfit, I'm incorporating some of the color tips. And if you can recognize which color tips I've incorporated into this outfit, put them here in the comments and see what you remember from 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago. We did color last week. Okay. So next, try incorporating maybe some sheer or shearer, it's a hard word to say, items, even in small details, or peeking out from something else. It can lighten the feel of your outfit. I love to layer button-up blouses under sweaters. So something that's a little silkier, a crepey type material, or even an eyelet blouse, collar and cuffs poking out from under your thin, smooth wool or cashmere sweater can add a lightness to your look that says spring is coming. Try a tissue turtleneck instead of a thicker one. Obviously, you're going to layer over it, but a lot of you layer over turtlenecks anyway. So you're just swapping one element of your outfit and still keeping warm. The lighter, thinner, sheer material will still add some insulation to your neck, but visually look less heavy. Instead of a big, thick scarf, you can try a satin or silk scarf. Silk is an incredible material because it keeps you warm when it's cold, it ventilates when you're hot, it's moisture wicking, and even though it's finer and thinner, it can be quite warm, which is why those silk undershirts are so wonderful for insulation. A silk scarf around your neck can still keep you quite warm. Let's see. Oh gosh, that scared me. The blanket slid down off the back of my chair. Okay. Anyway, I thought my dog had come in here. Oh, I've got to calm down. So these are examples of something a little sheer. These are more spring. These are actual spring outfits, but these are the elements I was talking about. I've really got to start wearing my glasses during this. But even though they're non-reflective, they still reflect. Okay, so this is the kind of crepey button-up blouse I'm talking about. It's polyester, but it has that, do you know what I'm talking about? That thinner, little, slightly textured, crepier material. It's just lighter. This eyelet blouse is something that I could layer under a nice warm cardigan. It doesn't, if it had a collar, I could put it under a crew neck sweater, but just that little bit of lightness of an eyelet poking out can make a big difference. It's just a small detail that someone's not going to say, oh, I noticed you're wearing just a light crepey button-up blouse under your sweater. You must be inspiring spring in your outfit today. It's not a conscious thing like that, but it just will. It's subtle, but it's there. So you can also add some shine or sheen to lighten things up. I have some silver booties that I love from the 2017 winter wardrobe guide, and I love them. They still keep my feet warm, but they have that bright, shiny silverness. People ask me about them every time I wear them, and they really lighten up my outfit. This is my silver bag that I love, and I have a silver belt, and they're both fantastic options, not only because they're lighter in color, like I talked about in tip number 2 last week, but because of the shine and sheen. And you don't have to stick to light metallics. Other colors in patent or sheen are great options. And if you choose to do it in something like your bag or your belt or even your jewelry, it doesn't affect how warm you are, and you can add this in no matter what the temperature is doing. So let's take a couple of those. Here I'm wearing a metallic silver jacket, and I'm carrying my metallic bag. I've got on a thinner wool sweater. Even if I had on boots, this is just a much lighter, springier looking outfit. This is that same silk and cashmere sweater in another color, and it has that nice sheen to it again. And it's thin and fine, but actually quite insulating. And I can wear these sweaters spring, winter, and fall because of how well cashmere and silk help you regulate your temperature. And just that sheen, and you can even see on my black bag, it has a nice sheen. And then in this one, I've got that thin, another thin wool sweater on, and I have some sheen in my jacket and my bag, and it just lightens it a little. Just the combination of the thinner sweater, the sheen in my jacket and my bag, they don't scream winter anymore. So again, remember most of us spend the majority of the day inside a temperature controlled environment. So as long as you're appropriately bundled up when you're outside coming and going, you can get away with a lot as far as changes in your clothing and what you're wearing inside. So I am not saying wear shorts and t-shirt. but we don't have to dress for a day of skiing either, unless you're actually skiing. I sometimes laugh that we keep our home the same temperature year round, but I change what I'm wearing in the house based on the weather outside. It's very much a mind game. I think I talked about that last week. You can use these tips individually, or you can use them together to visually lighten up your outfit. You can add in the tips from the last 2 weeks as well. And obviously, you have to do what's best for your weather and your day, your comfort. I'm all about function first. I cannot bear being cold, but there is a lot of this that you can incorporate and not have to sacrifice any comfort. As the temperatures get less bitter, you can incorporate more and more of them. And I hope this helps. We have the spring classic wardrobe guide is coming out this month. I can't even believe it. Time is honestly flying. And we are going to be going shopping for it this weekend. If you have not joined the waiting list already, please do so. Those on the waiting list, well, members of the society get access first. Then those on the waiting list get first go, and then everyone else. You want to be the first to know. Trust me. It's so much fun. We put everything together for you to create a spring wardrobe, and there are transitional items and outfits throughout the season. So the outfits are warmer at the beginning of the season because the weather is still colder. And I transition the outfits because you get 100 outfits, and I put them all on a calendar for you. They start out warmer and they get lighter and cooler as the season goes on, as the weather changes. So you don't even have to figure out how to transition your outfit from winter to spring. I do it for you. That's one of the big concerns I hear from you, my community, about spring dressing. Like, oh, I know it says spring on the calendar, but well, it's snowing here. Like, I can't dress for spring. I will help you dress for spring, even, and stay warm. So that's what we do. You can join the waiting list and learn more at stunningstyle.com/society. It's all good times, all good times. And if you have any questions about it now, you can go ahead and ask me. And let's take a quick look. Oh, sorry. They added the hotline number to my folder. So I'm going to pop that up right now. I have to download it though. Okay. If you are having any thoughts of self-harm, we talked about this at the beginning. If you're at rock bottom, you can get help immediately. If there isn't someone with you right now in this very moment who can help you, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255, or you can use the crisis text line by texting 741-741, and you can even call 911 if you need help immediately. I'm going to leave this up here for the next couple of minutes. Take a screenshot with your phone. You can add these numbers to your contacts list. You can take a picture and send it to someone who you think could potentially, if you think they're having this moment right now, get to them. But anyone that you feel like struggles in this way, and this number could come in handy when no one is around, send this to anybody you think will help. Michelle says, hi, April. Hi, Michelle. I'm glad you're here. Milana was kind enough to share the hotline number when I surprised, and so was Karen when I surprised my team and asked them to come up with this on the fly. Linda says, add the hotline to your contacts. You never know when you're going to meet someone in a crisis. Linda, that's a great point. Even if you don't ever struggle in this way, you don't ever foresee that, you could find yourself in a situation where you meet someone or you're in contact with someone who needs help. We're not, you and, well, most of you at least, and definitely I am not equipped to long-term help someone in that kind of situation. They need professional help, but we can be there in the moment, in the short term, until we can get them professional help. And even in the moment, if something very serious is happening, you're not trained to handle that. You might need that crisis hotline to call on their behalf. If all else fails, call 911. Like if you can't even deal with that, call 911. But Linda, I'm so glad you mentioned that. You might need this phone number for someone else. So save this number. Michelle asks, does anyone sell real flannel shirts? Yes, they do. It's mostly outdoor apparel companies like LL Bean. Eddie Bauer probably sells real wool shirts. Real flannel shirts. It's real flannel if it's made from wool. And then Jan says Land's End has 85% wool, 15% nylon, 14-ounce weight flannel shirts. Thank you, Jan. That's super helpful. Land's End is another option. But the brands that sell clothing to actually wear in outside activities, and not brands like, well, say J. Crew, where you just want to look like you're spending the day outside in the snow. You just want to look like it and feel like it, but you're not actually going outside. That's what J. Crew is for, and other brands. But if you are actually going to be out in the elements, you want to go to these companies that sell outdoor clothing. Sherry says navy instead of a black column with the blue duster to lighten look for spring. Ding, ding, ding. Sherry gets a prize. She did see the other element that I incorporated. Michelle says, I love an inside column of color with a color on the outside cardigan or jacket. Me too. Referring back to that same outfit. I do too. It's one of my very favorite things, and it's so easy to wear. Maddie says, these are wonderful tips to lift the spirits. I can't wait for the spring guide. Well, thank you, Maddie. And I can't wait for it either. And, this morning when I was getting ready and I was thinking about today's live, I still just don't feel that fantastic after, being so sick. I'm much better than I was, but I still am just kind of tired. And I've been wearing a lot of black, to be honest, and navy, just because I physically don't feel well. And I was thinking about my own tips. And today I was like, you know what? Because I was going to put on something black or navy. I think I'm going to follow my own advice and try wearing something in a bright color that makes me feel happy. This is a happy color to me. And something in a thinner, lighter texture because it's cold and yucky and rainy today, that feels lighter like spring. And it helped, I'll be honest. So this is, I followed my own advice today, and I'm excited for the spring guide too. Audrey says, which city will we be visiting for shopping this time? We are trying Miami this time. It's a much shorter flight. It's a direct flight, and it's nice weather. You can't go wrong. Michelle says, I appreciate your vulnerability with this issue, April. You are making a difference. Your passion is palpable. Michelle, I appreciate that comment so much. I have received many, many messages sharing that this made a difference for them. I don't do this, and these aren't sponsored. I do this for me. I do this for you. I realized finally that I've been suffering with depression and anxiety since around the time puberty started. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. You can watch I did a live on this in the fall. And it was such a relief to me to finally know what everyone else felt like. I didn't realize other people that wasn't normal. And to not feel that way anymore was such a relief. And I've been in that deepest, darkest place before. And fortunately got help. I don't want anyone else to feel that way anymore if they don't have to. I feel so strongly about sharing this message. I tell strangers about it. I don't mean just like on here. I know there are people who I'm a total stranger to, but I mean out in public. I've told people. I told one of our waitresses, like, she was saying something about her anxiety, and I'm like, if you actually have anxiety, like, you can get help. And I like wrote it all down for her on a napkin. Like, it's not easy to talk about it. For some people, it's not easy. I'm a very private person. And it's quite surprising, honestly, that I'm so open about something that is quite personal. But I feel so grateful to feel better that I'll tell anyone. So if any of you have experienced this or are experiencing this, being another voice out there, there's a lot of shame around it, honestly. Like, you should just get over it or get out there and exercise and you'll feel better. Well, but when you're that depressed, you can't get the motivation to get out there and exercise. That's the problem. The more people who speak up, the less shame there is around it, and the more people will know that help is available. Not everyone needs medication, but there's no shame in needing medication. There's no shame in needing therapy. There's no shame in needing help. And my hope is that by talking about it, we can help others not feel that shame, because I feel no shame whatsoever. I'm just grateful that I got help. I'm grateful I feel better. And the more people who talk about, and I hope people will get help. And I hope I'll encourage more people to feel comfortable, open up. I don't judge anybody who doesn't feel comfortable sharing. We all have to make that decision for ourselves. It is very personal. But I'm grateful that I have this platform that I can share, that I can. And I feel very led by God to share it. And that's why it pops up unexpectedly, because he is nudging me and it comes out of nowhere. And then I ambush my team. They're like, what graphic number? Huh? But it really does come out of nowhere into my brain. And it's not coming from me. It's coming from him. And that tells me someone out here who is listening to this now or who is going to listen to this in the future needed to hear that. And I'll say it as many times as he asks me to. So that's the honest truth. Not because I'm any more special than anyone else. I have this platform and opportunity to do it. And somehow those people or that person is going to come across it. And that's just the path he chose. So to get that information to them. That was a long answer. And then my team has put the link to the full video where I talked about my experience with depression and anxiety and how I got the quick and easy help. And can you all put the link to the telehealth company? It's called Get Cerebral. And this link allows you to get 25% off your first month. I think I do get a credit there. But that's not why I'm sharing. It's to get you the discount code. Okay. Cherry says, deep place. I've been there too. Cherry, I'm so sorry that you've ever had to experience those feelings. And I am so grateful that you found your way out of it and that you're with us, because you are an absolute delight. And I have loved getting to know you. You're just a very kind, giving person. And, you know, Cherry has reached out to me multiple times, sharing information that she thought would be helpful to me on a personal level. And she's just a very thoughtful, kind person. And you've been a blessing in my life. So I'm really grateful. I'm especially grateful that you're still here and that I've had the opportunity to get to know you. Gosh, why am I like, I'm having all the weepies today. Someone else, I can't see your name, says, please get help if you need it. It's okay to ask for help. I had a neighbor that committed suicide the first week of January. It's so difficult seeing the family left. So please seek help. Absolutely. And if you need to know anything, it's that depression is a liar. All of those horrible thoughts that you're thinking about how no one loves you, you're just hurting the people around you, it's a lie. It's a lie it's the lies of depression. And if you can hear me now and just believe that one thing, and tell someone, just tell someone who can help you, or tell someone, anyone who can get you help. Call your doctor. Even if they don't specialize in this, they can help you find someone who can, and they can help you do whatever you have to do. But we're going to put this link up here so that if you know, if cost is a problem for you, this will get you $25 off the first month. And and hopefully make it a more affordable option and overcome an obstacle. Kayla started to leave a comment. It just said April, but that's all it said. So Kayla, if there was more to your comment, I didn't get it, unfortunately. Kayla's watching through YouTube right now. So welcome, Kayla. I'm glad you're here. We have shared the National Suicide Prevention Hotline number. It's 800-273-8255. The crisis text line is 741-741. And if you need help, if you're struggling to find help, you can go to getcerebral.com. There's also here in the links a link to get through me a $25 off your first month. Michelle says, both of my adult sons suffer from clinical depression and anxiety. It's tough, but there's always help available. Michelle, thank you for sharing that. And I will say, you know, I was very fortunate that the first, oh, do you know what? Oh, I need to tell you this. This is new information. So I was very fortunate that the first medication I tried worked. And I had to increase my dose every month for a few months. But that was very fortunate. That is not the case for everyone. Some people have to try multiple medications. Sometimes you have to combine medications. But I recently found out about a service. It's called Sheen Site. And if someone in my team could grab just the URL for that, your doctor has to order, it's a cheek swab. They analyze your DNA and it will tell you which depression, anxiety, and ADHD medications will work best for you based on your genetics. So I just ordered, I had a doctor order it for me. It's free for the doctor to sign up. They do have to go through an approval process to make sure they're actually a doctor, right? And it's just a cheek swab, no blood draw necessary. You send it back in, and then you get this report, but you have to go through a medical provider. My test just arrived today, because even though I'm getting great results from mine, I just want to know if I'm actually on the most effective one. The one I'm on is really hard to come off of. You have to wean very slowly, but I don't want to do that and try something else just for the fun of it. But I do want to know that I'm on the right medication, the best medication for me. So it's called GeneSight, GeneSight.com, I believe. I cannot, okay, thanks. Someone in my team put it. I can't type anything in the comments while I'm live from my end. But so that's why my team has to put it. Thank you. So it's now in the comments. So for those of you who like maybe you are on medication and you're still not having the best results, and it's covered by most insurances. I don't know what the cash price is, but when I do, I can tell you what it is when I find out. Or if you are about to go on medication, like, you don't have to guess. You can try this. I have friends who've done it. That's how I found out about it. My friend told me about it. And I was like, what? So yeah, I hope this helps someone too. Kayla says, April, that was incredibly vulnerable and profound. Part of overcoming is sharing our testimony. Whatever we've gone through can help others. So refreshing to see someone use their platform for good, for God. Thank you so much, Kayla. I really appreciate that. And like I said, I don't judge anybody who doesn't feel comfortable doing that. It is a very personal decision. It's not easy for everyone. There are a lot of there's a lot I don't share about my personal life. Most of my personal life I don't share. I'm a very private person. We all have to do what we are okay doing. I'm totally okay with this, thankfully. But I would have done it anyway with well, the first time I shared about my depression years ago, when I did hit rock bottom, that was the scariest thing I've ever done. So I know both sides of it. And I never really thought about part of overcoming is sharing our testimony. But yeah, I mean, I guess that helps me even more with the shame factor, right? That I'm standing up and saying it loud and proud. And there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not broken. All of us, our bodies are imperfect in a variety of ways. I have bad knees. I had really, really crooked teeth. Like, this is very expensive. And I have a chemical imbalance. My brain is not able to access the dopamine and chemicals it needs to regulate my emotions. That is not a personal failing. And it's not anything I have control over. So thank you. Someone else, I can't see your name, says, as a licensed clinical social worker, my life's work is to provide support and help. I've worked primarily with children and teens and their families. Bravo to you, April, for doing this. Well, what I am doing is minuscule compared to what you're doing. That's not very nice to say. One person's contribution is as much as another person's contribution. I'm not trying to diminish what I'm doing. What I really mean is it takes such a special heart to be a social worker. That is something I could not do. I emotionally, I could not handle that. And I'm really grateful for, and I applaud those who are able to be in your field, because you're needed. You save lives and you help families, especially children. And I'm grateful that there are people, I wish I could see who said that. There are people like you out there who can do that. What you do is so important. Michelle says, the test has been very helpful for finding the correct meds for my son. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. That's, it's social proof, right? I don't how many studies or whatever to show you, but hearing from people, the people I know who have done it have all just been like, this is amazing. Like my friend, she and all of her daughters were on ADHD medication and antidepressants, and at least one of them was on anti-anxiety medication, and they weren't getting the best results. Their doctor ordered this. They all changed their meds, and it was a night and day difference. They didn't have to go through the process of trial and error. Well, they had been, and they just weren't. And like they were on fewer medications, and it's just made all the difference for them, the 4 of them. And so I'm really excited, and I'm really glad to hear from you, Michelle, that was really helpful. Michelle says, it was very hard to tell people about our son's diagnosis. As a parent, I felt very embarrassed. I thought I must have done or not done something right for them. Michelle, that's so hard. And I hope you don't feel that way anymore. You don't have any control over their body chemistry. There's situational depression, like after a loved one dies, or, you get a serious diagnosis or a family member does. But then this is clinical depression. It's chemical imbalance for me anyway. And you are doing what you have control over, which is getting them help, helping them get help. That is amazing. That you're doing the only thing you can do for them. You can't, my son inherited my bad knees, and he got it for me, but I can't help it. Like I couldn't do anything to prevent it. So all I can do is make sure he gets physical therapy to strengthen the right muscles and blah, 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 blah. And blaming myself for him having my bad knees doesn't help him or me. So I really hope that you are able in a different place now that you can recognize. I would assume so, because you just shared that with us here. But just in case, I hope you will hear me when I tell you none of it is your fault, and you're doing all you can to help them in the only ways that you can. Get them help from the professionals who can do something for them. So anyway, those are all the questions and comments I see. I want to thank all of you for being here. Again, all that information is in the comments here. You can also go back, rewatch this, screenshot it. We'll have those numbers again in the blog post when it goes up later today. You can also Google those numbers. Michelle says, I don't feel that way any longer, just at the beginning. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That's wonderful. But you're not the first or last parent to feel that way. So I'm glad you shared that. It'll help other parents, recognize it in themselves as well. And hopefully they'll be able to let that go. And the links to these various places to get help. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. If the storm is headed your way, be safe, be careful, be smart, stay home if at all possible, stay off the roads. And I will see you again, same time, same place, 1 p.m. Eastern time next Wednesday. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.